Well, it's Saturday the 11th of September. This is episode 2134 of 301 Permanently Moved Online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded and edited by me, at the JMO. Today's episode has been on the list of ideas for over a year, but a public idea is much more useful than a private one, so let's give it a go. In his 2006 book, Convergence Culture, Henry Jenkins wrote the following about fandom. Participation is understood as part of the normal ways that media operate, while the current debates centre around the terms of our participation. Just as studying fan culture helped us to understand the innovations that occur on the fringes of the media industry, we may also want to look at the structures of fan communities as showing us new ways of thinking about citizenship and collaboration. The political effects of these fan communities come not simply through the production or circulation of new ideas, the critical reading of favourite texts, but also through access to new social structures, collective intelligence, and new models of cultural production, participatory culture. He also goes on to say that nothing was inevitable. Everything was up for grabs. And given the speed of Web3 development and other trends, in 2021, power fandoms are coming soon. Power fandoms represent the convergence of multiple areas of online cultural production and participation. When they do arrive, they will look like the unholy mashup of GitHub and fandom culture, free software development and fan fiction, DAOs and gamer guilds, game engines and Discord, wiki edit wars with modular politics, RPGs with legal agreements. It will be crypto tokens that represent promises and fan creations that deliver on them. Jenkins said back in 1997 that fan fiction is a way of the culture repairing the damage done in the system where contemporary myths are owned by corporations instead of by the folk. See also my essay Craving Canon, about how under the conditions of cultural commodity capitalism, the concept of canon is used to assess if a piece of media matters or not. Canon in power fandoms will evolve through parallel experimentation and selective growth, with no central arbiter of truth. The development of permissive IPs will provide the legal and structural frameworks for power fandoms to create, own, produce, and market their own worlds. In a 2010 thesis, Exploring Fan Community and Celebrity in the Field of Fan Cultural Production, Bertha Catherine L.P. Chin has a fascinating chapter on fan fiction and fan art as gift-giving culture, with similar anthropological qualities as a potlash. The essay elaborates further on fan cultural production within its context of social, subcultural and symbolic capital, and how fandom skirts copyright law by being a gift economy, allowing it to protect itself from imperial entanglements. Power fandoms will be autopoietic worlds co-created between audience and audience. Ian Cheng says that worlds are like institutions, religions and families. A flourishing world, like an effective institution, will always have the capacity for renewal and surprise. I had a conversation a while ago with RPG designer Paul Sager for my world running project. He brought up the TV show Lost as an example of a co-created world. The writers took fan theories straight off the internet and put them in the show. This feedback loop allowed the media property to flourish. Lost's co-creation of its world with its audience is an example of a proto-power fandom. Proto because fans steered but did not control the world that they were invested in. The absurdist horror baseball simulation game Blaseball is another proto-example. The game has an active and prolific fandom with an insanely high degree of audience participation. The game's developers actively engage with the fandom, even going so far as to having elections on Sundays where the community can vote to change the rules of the game. And lastly, of course, as I mentioned last week, there's Loot. Being currently the first Web3 proto-power fandom means it might yet become the first. There is, of course, a difference between previous shared fan fiction worlds and today. Until now, fandoms have been unable to create or share value between those participating in the world. Right now, not including all the other various Loot NFT projects, the speculative currency Adventure Gold, or AGLD, at the time of writing has a market cap of $160 million for a cryptocurrency meant to be used in the game world of Loot. This puts Loot's total valuation as a franchise along something like Robocop, The Omen, or Bridget Jones. Power fandoms are exciting. They have implications for the creation of future MUs, or massively multiplayer entertainment worlds, or Miles, massively interactive live events, but also for the way that we as the folk create, control and own culture after a century of enclosure. My hopes and dreams for Loot to become a power fandom are probably misplaced. It's far more likely that the first power fandom will come from the furries. As a community, they already have well-established economic production norms, a far stronger sense of community and solidarity than can be found anywhere in Web3's ecosystem. They build and roll their own infrastructure and technology, plus they have actual extant socialist economic relations within their community. Power fandoms will fund themselves. So let's roll our own culture.